Morning.
Hi all.
Oh, you're outside, Janet. That looks so nice.
Well, this is just the house. The other part is nicer, but
Oh, did you get new glasses?
these are those blue screen glasses. I only wear them when I've heard that they're very good to help prevent headaches and eye strain. So they don't do anything but supposedly screen something out. I don't know.
Oh, they look nice.
Well, they were, my daughter got 2 pair when she ordered hers, and so she's like, "Here, take this." How do I get Lynette in? Where are you, Lynette? There.
Janet, maybe after
Harrison. Oh, sorry.
We could grab a little time to talk about the meeting yesterday.
Oh, we shall try.
It was packed full.
Yeah, I was helping my daughter move.
Good. Well, let's see. I see we have Deb. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Colleen and Lynette. And who am I seeing? Who am I missing here? Just a small group today. I know Ami is gone. She's still vacationing. Is that Rose?
Yes, I'm here.
I see.
I had to mute you. My dog started barking.
That's funny, mine did too.
Well, maybe we'll give people like just a couple minutes, and I did send a reminder out. I know this gets tough in June where, we start getting into vacation time. But Janet, I was thinking maybe we could do the civil rights first, and that way we'll have that wrapped up. And then we could talk about the fourth, or civil rights, and then brainstorm some of the ideas that like Lynette sent. And then maybe we could do the fourth CVD. And that'll probably use up our time.
Okay, I wasn't sure we were going to do the civil rights today. I thought that we were going to do that next week, but that's okay.
Are you okay with doing it today? I don't think it's super.
I just have to bring it up. So while you're talking, I will look in the background and get it.
It's in the last email I sent out with this reminder, so it should be in there.
Was it there? Okay.
Yep, I included it.
Apologize. I had 200 emails I was trying to go through this morning, and I'm down to 60 now.
No worries. No worries.
Oh, is somebody?
You might have more people trying to join.
I wondered. Hang on here. Let me check. We'll open that. I don't see anybody in the waiting room.
Well, maybe we'll just have a small group today. I'll quick take roll.
Make this bigger. All right. Got to get back here and I got to share. Boy, this is complicated. All righty.
Okay. Well, you guys, we're going to go through the civil rights training, and then what I'll have everybody do, whether we do it in person or people watch it, we'll just talk about it, and then we can have everyone sign their civil rights form that I included in that packet, and I'll send it out again with the recording. And if they'll just return those to me, then I'll collect all of them and get them to Janet.
So let me share with you all really quickly too, in case you have questions. If you work for any I3A, if you're a staff person, so Maya not including you, you will very likely see this again the first week of July when we're getting ready to do the farmers market. Farmers market coupons and this Fresh Conversations program are funded under the same federal program. And so they require that we have the civil rights training. Unfortunately, both programs say, oh, you need to sign the piece of paper. So while you don't need to pay close attention to both of them, in July, when we do the farmers market training again, you'll see it again. It may look a little different because we may be doing the one that Bob has done. I honestly don't know which one we're going to do yet. We're kind of looking at time as well. But just know that you will kind of get to do it again, and you'll have to sign basically the same piece of paper again. We got 3 more coming. They're joining.
So while Janet's letting them in, I think the biggest thing with the civil rights training in a nutshell is that we treat all people the same, and that regardless of religion, age, sex, a disability, that we make sure that we make accommodations if they're needed for people. So the agency does a phenomenal job making sure that those things, many of those things are in place. So I'll let Janet go from here.
Okay, so the purpose of this is just to make sure that we review the policies and the procedures set forth by the USDA regarding compliance and enforcement of prohibition against the discrimination within any of the SNAP-Ed programs. So the state staff and the local contractors, which are us and you, must comply with the civil rights training, and that it be conducted as part of annual training for you. We need to have a documentation of it, so that's why in a little bit you will have that paper that says you need to sign that and then send that back. And I'm sorry, Ann, did you say to send it back to you and then on to me?
Yeah, I think that way, Janet, I can compile all of them and
Yep. And we do keep them in a file. It's in my office in Waterloo. I know exactly where it is, but I'm not there. So send them to Ann once you've signed that and dated it, and then get that back in as quick as you can so we can get this taken care of. So the topics are language assistance, reasonable accommodation, effective public notification systems, collection and use of the data, the complaint procedures, the compliance review, a resolution of noncompliance, conflict resolution and customer service. So when we are doing these services, we cannot discriminate against any applicant or participant for age, sex, race, color, disability, religion, national origin, or political beliefs. Different treatment that makes the distinction of one person or group from others, either intentionally, by neglect, or by actions or lack of actions based on protected classes. That's the actual definition of discrimination. So when we look at examples, it could be a delay of benefit or services, it could be absolute denial of benefits or services, or it could be an inconsistent application of the rules or policies. So the one thing that we run into with farmers market coupons is that occasionally we have someone who is only 58 or 59 years of age. That is not discrimination, because the program itself is designed for someone who must be 60 years of age or older. In this program, we just want to make sure that everybody is treated equally regardless of any of those other classifications.
And Janet, I think the thing with Fresh Conversations where we have the most significant risk is possibly with language barriers, or that's probably the most significant risk that we run.
Well, and it could be some sort of other disability that could include poor hearing. So, you know, you want to be really careful that if you have someone who's unable to hear you well, what are you doing to try to accommodate that? Whether it would be moving yourself. You can't maybe ask that person to move because it's just would be very disruptive, but maybe you can get a little bit closer to the individual. Or if you know that you're in a situation where you need a microphone, we have had microphones available for you to use in an area that, or a space that may be loud or difficult to hear in. So making sure that that is possible. Also, you want to be a little bit careful. I try never to ask someone to read out loud by pointing to them. But if someone wants to volunteer to read, but that's another situation if they're unable to see and or they can't read because of their vision is that bad, you just want to be real careful with any of those kinds of situations. But you guys, you're very good at that already anyway. We talk quite a bit about it. This is just, yes.
No, I was thinking cataracts and
Yeah.
macular degeneration or blindness.
Whatever the cause, if it impairs their vision, and we may or may not know that, and we just want to be careful of that. So this just talks a little bit about why the history of it, and the Disabilities Acts that we have from 1973, 1990, and then again, a little bit of information. This is, I want to say, fairly new when I think about how long ADA has been around, though it's not so new anymore. But the person who has a physical or mental impairment which substantially limits one or more activities of major life activities, having a record of such an impairment or being regarded as having such an impairment. That's basically what a disability is considered. A person can claim, let me make sure, do we have anybody that wants in? I'm gonna check, I'll be right back, I promise.
Would you want to advance this, Janet? And
Yep.
I'll keep going.
I think we're good,
Oh, okay.
nobody's there, so. Again, the Civil Rights Act, and you all know what this is, race, color, national origin. That's the act that covers that particular part of the procedure or the policy. Again, limited English proficiency, that's what we're talking about as far as language issues. And so this is a little bit more what we need to know, what are the reasonable steps. So the more likely that you have a large group of people who are unable to understand because of a language, then that's something that you need to consider whether we have translators. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever really run into that. Christine is not on, I don't believe, nope, she's not feeling well today. We have a fairly large group in Waterloo of Bosnians, but I don't know that they actually attend on the Fresh Conversations Day, but that would be a situation where we would need our translator, FICO, to participate. Colleen, do you have a large number of non-English speaking people in the Dubuque area that attend Fresh Conversations anywhere?
No, we have a Marshallese community, but they do not attend.
Okay, so if something were to change, that's one of the things that you'd want to be particularly careful with. And again, looking at the frequency as well as the number of individuals that participate. So reasonably, if you have one person that attends, it might not be a situation where we would necessarily get a translator or that language service, but what we might want to do is contact Ann or myself and let's see what we can do. Maybe there's a way we can get some of that information into a different language for that person. I have no idea what the state could help us with there. We've not asked. And
I think you make a really good point. If you have any situation where you feel it could be, there could be an issue, just to give Janet or I, just send us an email or give us a phone call, and then we can at least talk through what some resources and things might be that we could do to help people. Well,
and they're saying here reasonable steps, and I know that that's one of the situations that often comes up. We are a fairly small agency and we do have a limited budget, but with the technology that we have these days, it is entirely possible that maybe we could come up with something, especially when we partner with some of the other smaller agencies that are actually working with these groups of people that are now living in our communities and wanting to access services. Shoot, I just can't quite think. Embark is the name of an agency in Waterloo in Black Hawk County that serves many different languages. And so if we were to approach them and say, you know, this is a program that maybe we could work together, that might be reasonable for us. It may not be reasonable for one individual in a small town where, say, Lime Springs, if we're doing Fresh Conversations in Lime Springs, there aren't any other reasonable language folks, but maybe we have a conversation and we find out that there's someone who speaks English and that language and we invite them to come. Maybe they, you know, it's just something that we have to talk about.
Mm-hmm. But if somebody has, for example, a vision problem, we might be able to, you know, find a photocopier and enlarge the newsletter somehow so that they could read it, or look for accommodations like that as well.
Yep. And so there are some required steps that we need to take. So if this does happen, we want to be able to help individuals and to provide them with information on how they can access the services. The options include hiring a bilingual staff, contracting with an interpreter, formally engaging community volunteers. So that's that thing where I was, you know, maybe we have someone who speaks 2 languages, and we just invite the daughter to come to the program so that she can share with her mom or dad. And utilizing telephone interpreter services. Technology today opens up a lot more options. So again, you don't necessarily have to know what all those options are, but if you can share that information with Ann or I, we'll see what we can do to help out as much as we possibly can. And a little bit more information there, if we have education and audiovisual materials that need to be put into other languages, we maybe just haven't asked about them, so we'll be doing that. We use a public notification system to inform the participants and potentially eligible persons of the availability, the rights and responsibilities, our non-discrimination policy, and a procedure for filing a complaint. You should have this poster available. For those of you who've done fresh or farmers market, you know we always give that to you. You should have one of these posters available, and you can print them out. You can see right down here if that's something you want. All you need to do is let us know and we'll get you the link.
But if you do not have that poster, we do need to make sure that you do post it, correct, Janet?
Yep, you should have it available and it should be posted. That's one of the things that we do. Now, again, if you are in a location that doesn't necessarily allow you to put that stuff up, bring it along with you and put it out, put it with your fresh conversations material and put it on the table before the class begins. That's good enough. Then pick it up at the end. So again, any information that we print or put together, it must include this non-discrimination statement. You all don't do that. So don't worry too much about it. That's not on you. The information that we give you is already put together and done. Patty's joining us. Again, have a little bit information about being an equal opportunity. It's just this non-discrimination statement that you need to include on anything that's printed or prepared with SNAP-Ed funds. You don't need to worry about that. But if you look at our SNAP-Ed publications, you'll see some of that.
Awesome.
Yes?
No, do you need to let Patty in?
I did. It might just take her a minute to get here. But I said admit. So
Hello.
for sites,
Hey,
Can you hear me?
hi. For Patty, we're quickly doing the civil rights. So for online sites, again, more information.
Hi.
You all don't need to know exactly where that is. Again, a little bit more information. If you're printing something or creating something, you're not allowed to make edits or deletes, or it has information about the size of the font. Credit to the SNAP program, Spanish credit statements, data collection and use. So we do collect racial and ethnic data as much as possible. So for those of you, again, information needs to be collected, and we do that on the other end through their intake or their NAPIS. Remember, there's that question on there. Information is kept confidential, only accessible to the folks who absolutely need to have that. If you don't actually know what that, or excuse me, if that person doesn't actually fill that out, then you do the best you can by visual observation, okay? Don't second guess or challenge a self-declaration though. So if an individual puts themselves down as African-American or Black, you do not change that to a different, you leave it alone. But if they don't put anything, then you just put something by visual observation as to what you believe that race should be, or ethnicity, at both of them. So again, here's a little information about what would be race and what would be ethnicity. I'm not gonna read that for you, okay? It's all on your forms.
And I sent you all the slide deck, so if anybody wants to go through it.
If there's a complaint, though, this is how you would file that. And if someone says something to you ever about it, know that there's a way that you can take them to a spot where they can make a complaint. You know, you're not on your own out there. If someone has a complaint that they want to file, here's how you do it. Make every effort to provide all of the following information. So we really do need as much of that as possible. Name.
And this is for a complaint.
For a complaint. And this would be if you're not doing your best to provide the same services for all people. And it really shouldn't be an issue, because you guys, when somebody comes to your class, aren't we happy they're there? Yay. So this is information on a complaint, a little bit more information. Some of this, again, would kind of go towards Ann and I. So if somebody ever came to you with a complaint, we would want you to let us know. We need to know that as well.
Because we would want to follow up with
Yep.
that.
So then this is what happens. The review happens. The resolution of non-compliance. So that would be a problem that if it was actually found that we were being discriminatory, that there was an issue related to it, this is what would happen. We have a plan in place. Don't worry about it. So again, our customer service is, we want to make sure that we're communicating well, responding to their needs, valuing everyone's worth, and thinking about our excellence and our courtesy as a customer service representative. We have confidence and enthusiasm in the activities that we do. So treat all persons or participants with dignity and respect and listening. Some of our participants may be pretty high in needs. They may have very few resources, and your assistance can really help them. Remember, again, this isn't so much with Fresh Conversations, but some of the folks that we deal with in Fresh Conversations have other needs. And if you recognize that, you may be able to connect them through our agency or another agency to help them, assist them to meet their needs better.
And I think a lot of times, Janet, we can just ask people, you know, if you know somebody has difficulty seeing or they need it, you know, we can just sometimes by just asking, and I know some of you have done this. So like, what would make this better for you? And they'll often tell you what they need for, many times they'll give you an idea for an adaptation that's even maybe less than we thought we needed to do.
Yeah. So I tried to get through that quickly. You guys have all seen this multiple times. If you have any questions, let her go. All right, Ann. Sorry.
Well, I'm going to take you on to a couple, before we go to the CBD, the fourth slide set, I wanted to ask you for two things. In August, we need to turn in any documentation that we've had Fresh Conversations advertised in the media. So if anybody recalls newspaper articles, I know maybe Lynette, Patty, sometimes I've seen them in the Waukon paper, Val Horner, I think maybe New Hampton, but if anybody can recall or they've saved an article where we've either had Fresh Conversations in the newspaper, there's been something on the radio, we get credit for that from the state. And so I thought I would ask now rather than waiting until August to try and scramble to get that together.
Do not feel bad if it didn't happen, or because let's think about this. We started with October, and
Yep.
Fresh Conversations really wasn't promoted or expected to happen December, January, and February, and then March. You know what happened then? So we really only had about 2 months where we had formal Fresh Conversations.
Yep.
And
I did send out articles for December, January, and February, so somebody might have squeaked one in.
Yep.
And if you did, that would just be awesome. The next thing is, Janet, let's let them, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I did do them in that time period at each of my sites because I knew I was going to be on leave. So I did do them, you know, with what you sent out, Ann, for those months. Because
Patty,
I knew I was going to be off with my...
I'll check the walk-on paper somehow. I'll see if there's any way we can. Jeremy's usually pretty good about running those ads in the walk-on paper, the articles.
Right.
So we'll cross our fingers.
Yeah.
So do you need a copy?
No, I did them in that.
If you by chance have a copy, that would be awesome because we're going to have to show the state. So if anybody has a copy, if we can just show that we have 3 anywhere around NEI 3A, it'd be awesome. I used to cut them out, but then I quit doing.
Even if it's just listed as in the calendar of events?
Yeah, I think that counts. Okay. Anything that might have been out there. That'd be awesome.
Because it's also been talked about on the radio, because I have a weekly radio show that I converse with, but there's no way of recording that.
You know what? Even if you could send me this, just send me kind of like your schedule of what days you met with the radio station. And if you just say, this is my typical agenda, I think that would work.
Like my script of what I talked about?
Uh-huh. That'd be awesome. Oh, that would be perfect.
Okay, I can do
What the
that.
radio station is, the date you met with them, and what that would be phenomenal.
Yep, I can do that.
Oh, you guys are awesome. So the next thing, Janet, we talked about this last week. Ideas that you guys might need. Are there some tools that would make your job easier? We have a little bit of, right, Janet? We've got some money left that we really want to make sure we spend this year. And Lynette had suggested some kind of a whiteboard. I know, Janet, you jotted down some ideas about having that not be so heavy, but are there things you guys think that you might benefit from having? I also got this list from Lynette. Let me pull it up. She had said face masks, hand sanitizers, and some of these she thought for like the whole group that we could share with like Marilyn, but these might even be things for the presenters. Adult coloring books, easy reader, like a magnifier or a few that you'd even just have in class that you could pass around. Maybe some additional stretch bands. I know that was awesome. You gave those out last year, Janet, but I do know some places actually participants maybe took them. Long-handled sponge. Like, go ahead.
And could we get some more? I thought we were supposed to hold on to those resistant bands because I've used them at all my different places. But I know people have requested they would like their own so they could use them when they're at home. So I have had most every site ask me, and they're just like, "Oh, can't we keep these?" And I'm like, "No, I'm sorry because I need them for other."
Well,
honestly,
classes. Because of COVID, what I'm thinking now is that would make the most sense is, although if you're only doing it once a month, my issue would be is if you, Patty, you, for instance, you took them from Waukon on Tuesday to Cresco on Thursday, which you're not doing Cresco anyway, but give me another site, whatever. You wouldn't have that month long or even a week.
Monona.
Yeah, Monona. So you wouldn't have that time between. So with COVID, I totally think it would be appropriate for everybody to have their own and bring them. So let me check into the costs, and I don't know how many it would take. I think we have about 500 participants, honestly. I know we mail that newsletters each month. I don't know how expensive it would be, and we may not put Fresh Conversations imprinted on them this time because that did add a little to the cost.
Yeah, just keeping them plain.
Yeah, and I don't just keep, that's fine, because, when we go there, we have all different things that have, fresh conversations.
You'll have to impress on them.
On it, plus the other.
You'll need to impress on them, though, that they need to bring it on the day that we have class.
Right.
And that list that you're reading off too, those were meant to be incentives, not necessarily items for us.
That's okay, Lynette. I so appreciate that. I love sending those out to Marilyn ahead of time. I think those are all great, but who knows, there might be, what about other ideas that you guys would benefit from? I said a ring light for video and a phone holder and a ring light if we have to do more online.
Yeah.
Make us all look beautiful.
I mean, if we are back in person, I think I've never done like a display board of anything, so that would be something that I know I could use.
Okay.
Well, we have them. We have the cardboard trifolds.
Do you?
Yeah, I can get them to you. We've got a stack of them because we ordered enough last year for everybody to have another one, but not everybody took one. So they're just in the Waterloo office. We just need to get it to you.
That would be great.
Okay.
And Lynette, tell me a little more on that whiteboard idea, because I think you said something a little sturdier than the.
Well, it's just, if you had magnets, we could post, the upcoming
Oh,
conversations, or we could do that like we did on the 3-sided boards. We could use it like that. And or during our presentations, we can use them with markers and things like that.
that would really make it faster to put a display together if you had a box of magnets and a magnetic kind of board.
The only thing I'm thinking about, Lynette, is that those things are darn heavy. Now, I know that you can paint. There's a paint out there that you can make anything right on wipe off. And I know that we've talked about using that kind of a technology for a couple of the other programs that we use a lot of those flip charts on, because it made more sense to, and it was getting expensive. You're writing down on this one pad of paper and you throw that paper away every day. So they were encouraging us to use some right on wipe off stuff. And what they had was, it was like a static cling thing. So you could put it against the wall and it would stick there and you could write on it and then just wipe it off with a cloth. You would need a space though, or the easel or the display board to stick that to. And not every location that you're doing your program in has a good flat wall
Correct. Yeah.
for you to do that. But I'll look into it anyway, because I don't want to give you guys something that weighs 15 pounds to haul in and out, along with your bag full of samples and your supplies.
We'll have the best biceps in the county.
And it's a windy day, you'll end up in the other county.
But we can do some, I'll help you do some looking on that too, Janet. Any other ideas, things that you think would be, we had talked about those ice packs to go in those very nice cooler bags that Janet had gotten. And I think, are those heatable, Janet? Do they go hot, cold, or are they just cold?
I think you can get both. I think there are ones that will go either way. I honestly haven't looked a whole lot at them because we've been a little busy and we do have time yet. Just an update, the senior centers can open, but we are not anywhere near feeling confident enough to do that. We have 18 counties, and so we're still making decisions about, do we open, say one county is very stable and hasn't had a new case, Fayette County or Buchanan County. I don't believe either one of those cases or counties have had a case in 2 weeks now. So they're very stable. Do we feel like maybe we could open them? Well, we're not, it'll be at least mid-August before we open those, my understanding, because we're not going to do hot meals until August 3rd. So it's still going to be a little while before we're ready to do programming like Fresh Conversations in person yet.
This is just, I don't know, do you guys all have some kind of a speaker? Like if you wanted to play music from your phone, do you all have the ability to like Bluetooth to a little speaker?
Really, Anne, that's all I use, like for my Tai Chi, and I can turn the volume up loud enough and they can hear it.
Just from your phone, or do you
With
Bluetooth
my cell
to it?
phone.
Just to your cell phone, okay. Yeah, and some of the newer cell phones compared to the old ones are so much better.
No, I just use my phone, just my cell phone, and they can hear it. Actually, sometimes they ask me to turn it down, but I haven't had a problem with needing anything but my cell phone.
Okay. Any other ideas that you might find beneficial?
Got about 6 minutes left.
I'm thinking that we'll probably have to spread out more into a larger space than what we've currently been meeting in. And so I may have issues with people hearing if we're spread out more like that. So I don't know if there's, what I will need to do differently to accommodate that.
And that may be something we won't know about until we actually open and start having. We anticipate, and we could be wrong, that some of our participants will not be returning. So where you normally have 25 or 30, if that's the number you have, you may only have 15. come in. We don't know. That's just kind of a conversation that the AAAs, the Area Agency on Aging, all across the country have been saying, that they believe there will be some individuals who just will not feel confident about coming back at all. But yes, I don't see any reason. We are using some small PAs in some of our places. I think there's one in Alcater. Kayla, do you
Yes,
know?
there is. Is Kayla on?
Yeah, I'm on. I've tried using that before, but it echoed a lot. It made it very hard to hear, and
Okay.
the participant just asked me to just not use it and just speak louder. So
Okay.
tried to do it a little bit better, and I try having them sit really close because the acoustics in there are not very good. So I don't know. We'll have to maybe get something different though, because I know if we return, they might want to be spread out more. So I'll have to think of some ideas.
Yep.
We have just a couple minutes, and we'll do the cardiovascular session 4 next week. But I'm just wondering, Maya, we never got to, we missed your introduction the last time. Would you want to you guys, Maya is in New Hampton, or Cresco, and she lives in New Hampton. I messed that up the other time, and grew up in Fredericksburg. But maybe you could just tell us a bit about yourself, and she's taking over for Sandy Hagen.
Sure. Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
Okay, you can hear me. Yeah, I'm Maya. This started in February, so I didn't even get to do
We can't hear her.
Oh, Maya, it's kind of muffled. I don't know if you can get a little closer to your computer.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Not real well.
Yep, it goes in and out.
Okay. Well, I just started in February, and I was going to do my first press conversations, but literally the day before.
Yeah, there's still no sound.
Yes.
Yeah.
Muffled.
I don't know.
Well, let me tell you just a bit about Maya. And we don't have her picture, unfortunately. She is a registered dietitian. And Maya, you graduated from Viterbo, correct, in La Crosse? And
Yes.
am I correct on that?
Yep.
Yep. And so she is doing all the work that Sandy Hagen did in Cresco. So that means, I believe, that she's got inpatients, she's taken over Fresh Conversations, she does some work with some of the nursing facilities, and then travels about 30 minutes to New Hampton. So we're really excited to have her on board, and I think she'll do an excellent job, but she's gonna love just having tips from all of you who've had really good experience with the program. So next week, we're going to talk about kind of what the plan is moving forward with what we know, as well as that CBD4. And then we just have a few tips on some adult education and learning options. And then that'll kind of wrap up our 4-part series. And I just want to tell you, thank you for taking your time to be with us and doing this with us. And I will send out, when we send the recording, you do have a copy of that Fresh Conversations form. So if you want to go ahead and sign it, you can either email it to me, which is the easiest. But if you don't want to do that and you want to send it via text, my phone number is 563-568-1824. And then I'll get those all together and off to Janet. Janet, do you have any other wrap up for them?
No, I think we're good. Don't forget to be marking this time down on your timesheets under Fresh Conversations for this activity, because we're not spending the money on you guys doing the programs, and they do want us to spend as much of it as we can because it's been designated for this. So thanks for doing it. We appreciate it.
Yep, thanks. I wrote down resistant band, whiteboards, display boards, ice packs, microphone.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Have a